with us. We talked about this a little bit yesterday as the news was breaking just as we went on the air. A prosecutor in Minneapolis has decided to charge a police officer in the death of Philando Castile. There's been a lot of reaction to that in the course of the last 24 hours since that was announced. And Jeff Manasso of Fox News Radio is joining us right now with the latest on that. Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing well, Mark. You?
I'm doing well, thank you. So I know that the Castile family has been unhappy so far with the fact, number one, that this took so long, and that all they came up with apparently was a manslaughter charge.
Well, I can tell you that his family has said that they basically see the manslaughter charge as an historic decision. Whether or not they wanted murder or manslaughter, it's what the Ramsey County Prosecutor's Office gave them, but it is a sense of justice for them. Philando Castile's mother urging those who protested in the wake of her son's death to let the legal process take its course, insisting that she wants peace. She doesn't want any protests to get out of hand, to get outrageous. But they were looking for a murder charge. But we heard from the Ramsey County prosecutor John Choi yesterday, basically saying, "Look, I had to look deep within my heart, and do I think that he set out to kill this man? No. However, no reasonable officer would have acted as Geronimo Yanez did, and they used the dash cam video, which is not being released because it's still a criminal trial, and other evidence to show that Geronimo Yanez, according to prosecutors, was out of line. He pulled that vehicle over July 6th with broken taillight. Philando Castile resembling an armed robbery suspect. He approached the car, and according to prosecutors, Philando Castile said, "Look, I have a gun. Just so you know, I have a gun," in a calm voice. It's legally owned, and then you can hear, based on what the prosecutors say, some yelling. The officers saying, "Don't touch it, don't touch it," and opening fire 7 times, 7 shots at close range. Deadly shots, and we now know, based on what prosecutors tell us, that when Philando Castile's body was looked at and searched, he had a .40 caliber weapon that was registered to him that was deep inside of his pocket.
Okay,
which is in line with even what his girlfriend has said in the aftermath, live streaming that on Facebook, that he never went for his weapon and that he was calm. He was just going to get his ID. So that officer is facing some real trouble, up to 15 years in prison. It's not just manslaughter in the second degree, but it's also illegally firing of a weapon. So up to 15 years for both counts if convicted. And the problem for prosecutors is, when they go to court, the defense is going to say you have to go into the mindset of a police officer in a split-second decision, and what his mindset was. This was a possible robbery suspect, and these aren't easy cases to fight. And also within that Facebook video that we've heard from his girlfriend when she live streamed it, the officer was pretty emotional and pretty upset about what he had done.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
No, I had seen a story that said that this officer had interaction with Castile before. I don't know if that played a role, but has anything been said about the prosecutor's decision to charge without taking it through a grand jury? Because that seems to be maybe what tripped up the prosecution in Baltimore.
He didn't feel like he needed to bring it to a grand jury. John Choi saying, "Look, I in my heart of hearts, the evidence was there, and I didn't feel like I needed to bring this to a grand jury." So we'll see. We'll see as this moves forward. I think that Baltimore is a case study on how being a prosecutor is not done. With Marilyn Moses holding that press conference immediately after Freddie Gray's death, ruling it a homicide immediately. and filing charges against those officers, those 6 officers. And she famously spoke to her constituents, saying, "Look, the people of Baltimore and the demonstrators across America, I heard your call for no justice, no peace."
Yeah.
What prosecutor does that? And she was wrong on those charges. You had that African American judge that. If the cases weren't he tossed out the remainder of the cases, but some of the other cases, the officers were acquitted or they were ruled not guilty, and so the evidence, wasn't there, and so Marilyn Mosby, I don't know what her future holds, but those folks in law school will look at this case on how not to be a prosecutor.
Sure. No, absolutely. Jeff Manasso, Fox News Radio, thanks for your time.
You bet.
Yep, I appreciate that. Thanks for more information on that story. So